Bienvenue, salut, and welcome to House of Azarh, a space where all are seen and all are welcomed, a space where we speak about spirituality and life and how those two things meet. My name is Rashidi and I am the house mother of this house, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to speak about this altar behind me. This altar is my hoodoo altar. This is my sacred space. This is my place that I go when I want to connect to ancestors, spirit. I want to communicate with the spirit guides that walk with me. Soundly believe in the quote by Maya Angelou, I stand as one, but I come as 10,000. I love that quote because I do believe that we are walking with multiple energies with us at all times. Yeah, let's get into the video. Before we go into the tour, I feel like I have to explain a bit of what hoodoo is. And hoodoo is the preservation of African spirituality through the Atlantic slave trade. It is the mix between Native American culture, African spirituality, and Christianity all in one. It is also the idea that my mother never let me go to other people's houses because she always said, I don't know what spirits are in their house. It is the fact that my mother and my grandmother always had money in their Bible because that drew money to them. This is the idea that turn off all of your lights during a thunderstorm because something is going to happen. It is, if your belly is hanging low, you're going to have a boy. It is also the visions and clairvoyant power that I have been gifted through the bloodline of my mother. So yeah, all of those things are hoodoo, and hoodoo has multiple trajectories, is that the word? Trajectories or paths. So for some other person, hoodoo might look more Native American, or it might look more Southern Black African-ness. But for me, this is what it is. It is a mix between Umbanda, it is Christianity, it is a bit of East Indian culture. It is all of these things mixed into one. So without further ado, let's get into the tour. Like I've said in my other videos, I love to thrift a lot of my spiritual practice items. So let's start with the statues. These are my divine feminine statues. These are also my universal statues. So right now I am petitioning with Oshasi, which is this green candle, and Ogun, which is this blue candle. So they live there. Even though these energies might not be feminine energies, I believe that the energies are non-binary, so they don't need to look like a man or look like a woman. They are just my intention manifested into physical form. And because I had to move this Florida water, let's talk about Florida water. This is my Florida water. I make it myself, and I use it to clean this altar. I use it to clean the floor. I use it to clean anything that's in the house, anything that I want to set intentions into. I even can use it for my face if I want to. Or if I feel the need to. So yes, there's that. And these candles, these are all candles from our wedding, and we burned candles all day, but they didn't all burn out, so we kept them, and now we use them in our practices. And yeah, white is also the color of Obatala, which is the head Orisha. He is sitting right up there with Nana, the creators of the universe. So yeah, so white is always a candle that is burning at the altar. We also constantly have a candle burning at the altar to keep the energy warm here. Obviously we can't always have candles burning, so we do put them out, but we put them out with this. I forget what this is called. But you always want to pause the energy that is at your altar, so you snuff the candle instead of blowing it out. But there's no rules to anything, so if you don't have one of these things, that is okay. Blow it out. Spirit knows your intention, but once you know, you know, and if you can find it, you can find it, but you don't need any of these things to practice. Here I have the coconut that we use in our feet washing ceremony at our wedding, and we decided to keep it. And I use leaves from old bouquets or from walks that I go on to petition my work. So I write on the leaves and I burn them, or I let them out, or I do whatever I need to do with them. But it's just a more eco-friendly way to work, but it's also a spiritual practice. Eucalyptus is the herb that I connect with the spirits that are around me. It's an herb that's always been in my house. So right now we have some eucalyptus leaves here that we use to petition, and I think that is really great. So yeah, let's continue. Here is my Pemba. I got this when I was going to an Umbanda temple. Umbanda is an African spiritual practice out of Brazil. And we use the Pemba to draw insignias on the ground or in your space when you are practicing, or when you are about to enter a space of possession, or you're about to work with someone. You draw your crown Orisha's symbol, or you draw whatever energy you're trying to draw into the space. So that there's that. And speaking of heads, one of my head Orishas is Ogun. He is the path maker. He clears the path for whatever you are doing. And I did this wall myself with books that I thrifted, and I didn't do this on purpose, but we were doing the wall, and when we were done, we knew that this was going to be our altar space, and I realized that these pictures were here, so I looked up who it was, and it's Joan of Arc. Joan of Arc is one of the patron saints for Ogun, so I think it's really interesting that at this altar that I created, Ogun made themselves present in the altar, whether I put a candle out for him or not, or whether I put a candle out for them or not. So yeah, also here are our incense holders. Right now there's a patchouli blend burning, another herb connected to Ogun or Oshasi, which Oshasi is the life that makes plants grow. They are the action part of clearing the way. So yeah, because we are petitioning with these two Orishas, we have these incense burning, and we just had an anniversary, so we are honoring Oshun here with these yellow flowers, because she is love. She is the heat and the passion that exists in your relationships. So to honor her, we celebrated our anniversary with her, and so we gave her an offering. Also, I gave an offering today at the river just around the corner from our house, and I found these dandelions on my way back, so I placed them in these two candles, and I left a little bit here on the altar. Ganesh. Here is Ganesh, another patron of Ogun, which I didn't know when we purchased this, but Ganesh is the waymaker in the Hindu religion, and once again, Ogun making himself present because he just feels like it, and I love it. So there's that, and under it is my oracle charms. My oracle charms are different pieces that I've collected in nature from all around the world. I've yet to use them in any readings for anybody or for myself, but they exist here. I don't feel the need to share them with you right now, but they are under Ganesh. Also, like I said in the first part of this video, there are people that practice hoodoo without even knowing they practice hoodoo, like your grandmother having the anointing oil from the pastor on TBN, or from her pastor at church, or anointing oil that she made herself. And she used it when you were sick, or when she felt ill or anything. So, or when she wanted to bind a spirit out of you or out of someone around her. So we created our own anointing oil, and we used this after our feet washing ceremony at our wedding. And inside exists sage, rose, gold, and jasmine, and a few essential oils. And we use this, when we just want to feel ourselves, when we are not feeling well, our feet are sore. We're both dance teachers, so our feet are sore. We use a little bit to massage our feet. So yeah, there's that. Here are some roses, dried roses from a bouquet that my partner gave me. So here's some more love on the altar, because without love you can't do anything. So love exists in these candles from our wedding. Love exists in the creation of the altar, and love exists in this bouquet. And speaking of love, here is a little offering bowl of rose petals for love, eucalyptus for ancestor, and grain for wealth and prosperity, because we just passed through the fall equinox. So it's the time to reverence the harvest and reverence the abundance that is being drawn towards you. So yeah, and speaking of abundance, here's our little offering bowl. Let me try to pick it up. Not little offering bowl, but actually it is little, with some euros and American money in it, and our little crucifix, which was a gift from my stepfather, and it's almost 20 years old and I still have it. So this is our bit of Christianity here. And Yemaja, this shell that the offering bowl sits in, a little bit of nurturing energy and a bit of mother energy, a bit of power energy also. And that feather. The feather is a pigeon feather that I found on my way home from the gym, I think. And though you may think pigeons are weak or whatever, pigeons to me are the strongest birds in the world, because there's nowhere in the world except for maybe Antarctica, and I'm sure there's a pigeon there that you've gone to and you haven't seen a pigeon. So we have a pigeon feather as our manifestation for air here. And a few more things. My pencils, which are one of my divination tools that I use to write my petitions. Like I said in my other video, it's good to use earth to ground your manifestations or whatever you're doing. And because I love the orishas and I love referencing them, these are candles. These are pencils from St. Lucia that I stole from my mom. But Ogun or Yemaja, we use that when we are trying to work with that orisha. Nana, if we're trying to work with that orisha. And Oshun, if we are trying to work with her or work with them. I also, like I said before, I live in France now, or France. I live in France, and here Celtic and pagan practices are part of the esoteric or spiritual experience. So I'm learning about that as well, and so I mix that a bit into my practice. And because, like I said before, what am I saying? Like I said before, I am trying to mix in other cultures into my practice without letting it overtake. And because we just passed the fall equinox, you would typically go to the forest and make an offering to Gaia, which is the goddess of the earth, and for the good harvest. So I found these on where did I find these? I think I found these in a parking lot, actually. And so I took them and I decided to make a little offering space for her, as I'm learning about that practice. And last but not least, my smoke bowl. I love this smoke bowl. I found it in a thrift store, and I'm sure it's one of those bowls that you're supposed to grind stuff up in, but it didn't have the stick part, so I used it as a smoke bowl. And these two stones inside are from the ocean, and I use that to hold the charcoal up so that it doesn't go out. And I think that's it. Oh, my lighter that my friend gave me, I just love that it's made out of wood, and this little lady on it reminds me of Oshun, so it's like Oshun is always lighting our candles. So yeah, and I mean, the aesthetic is really cool. But yeah, I hope that this was helpful. I hope that you learned something. I hope that you liked it. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments. And like I always say, if you want to join the Royal House of Azarh, leave a crown emoji in the comments. And until next time, stay beautiful.